the first year of blank check was the prequels of Star Wars. Over and over until they figured out what they wanted to do next.
I think it's going to be fun when our episode titles begin to have a marked shift, or maybe they'll look kind of similar, but this will be known as the chaotic days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now we're officially...
We were rediscovering, and now we're going to rename Triple Feature or something.
God. I still want to be Movies IMO.
Oh my God. Movies IMO Triple Feature.
The brand awareness.
Triple penetration.
The brand awareness is too strong with Movies IMO.
The high 3-figure awareness of Movies IMO.
Look, I think the most impressive statistic that everyone knows, this is a widely available statistic, that of all podcasts with the phrase IMO, we rank routinely above Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Routinely. Not just in movies and TV, because sometimes they cheat and they have got that categorization too, but like all-time list of podcasts every week.
Yeah, if you search IMO, it's ours
number 2,
first.
And Michelle Obama, IMO number 3. Everyone knows this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that Michelle Obama had an IMO podcast.
Correct. So I was
with
at
her
dinner.
Brother?
Yes.
I knew that they had a podcast.
Amiable brother. I was at dinner with a really good friend of mine a few months ago, and she works in the podcast world and is fairly successful. And she did offer a piece of advice to change the name because since we were on before, Michelle Obama has since cornered the market on IMO. And I was like, I won't hear it. I won't entertain it.
We have IMO.
Actually, we have cornered the market on IMO.
And then she had IMO after we already had IMO.
In the First Lady's defense, we had been dormant for quite some time.
Right.
And so I imagine it was a conversation they had with their people.
They were like, we have this Movies IMO. Are we concerned?
Been dead for so long. Real talk, it's not outside the realm of possibility that someone on their team did do like a search when they were coming up with the name IMO to see if there was any other podcast. I mean,
and they were like, who are these gays?
They could have called themselves
No,
Blank
she recognized
Check,
my name. She's written
Check.
me a personal letter before. Do you guys know this about me?
No.
What did she have to say to you?
When I worked for an independent producer a dozen or so years ago, I set up a conference call with like all of the showrunners on television with Michelle Obama for her to be like, have storylines about children losing weight, etc., whatever her initiatives were. And I got a nice letter after.
Are you breaking news here?
I probably am.
You have never said that. So
my mom has the letter framed in my home. Yes.
You coordinated a call between Michelle Obama and every showrunner working at that time.
Not only did it work out, but my boss was thrilled because Whitney Cummings and Shonda Rhimes both asked questions spontaneously. And because this was like pre-Zoom, so it was literally a conference call. We don't know who's actually showing up.
Mm-hmm.
We just, people confirmed, but they're busy people. It would have been humiliating if it was just like Michelle Obama is talking and no one asks questions. But obviously people made time for Michelle Obama. But yeah.
What year was this?
2014 or 15. I was in New York, so it was around there. Yeah.
She was in the White House.
Mm-hmm.
She was in the East Wing.
I have a card from the office of the First Lady.
Wow.
After this
and now
recording,
that office has been razed to the ground.
And so when she saw Movies IMO, she was like, "Oh, Ben, of course,
I of course know Ben.
Yeah,
I should write him another letter."
Absolutely remembers, and she was like, we're in a healthy competition now.
Let's keep the name to
with
honor
my friend
him.
Ben.
Yes, yes,
yeah. So to honor the presidential roots of the podcast in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Exactly.
Should we say what we're talking about? I realized we might not have said exactly what we're talking about to the listeners. Why
we should jump in because we have a lot to get to.
There's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I did have a couple small.
I have the whole history of Hollywood to go through, step by step.
Yeah, no, for sure. We should have started a few minutes ago.
He came with a PowerPoint, flowcharts.
I should have made a PowerPoint. That would have been really funny.
Now that we're on video, we could have done a screen share.
Yeah.
Whatever the Real Housewives of Salt Lake meme is, receipts timeline.
Yes.
You guys know the meme?
Yes.
I forget exactly what
I'm
the word is.
Yes, I do not know the meme.
Timeline, something else. But yeah, that's you with the history of Hollywood and Marilyn Monroe.
The history of the IMO nomenclature.
That's right.
So far
That's right. That's right.
You really did receipts timeline right out the gate.
That's right.
So in the spirit of right out the gate, so here's what's going on for our listeners.
Here's what's happening.
We have heard the feedback that we have not received. We have heard what the people
we
are
felt the
for,
feedback of our souls
that
that something was amiss.
Something was amiss.
Something wasn't right.
Something wasn't right. This is not the reason why this episode is coming late, but we can pretend like it is the reason why the episode's coming late, because we had to go back to the drawing board a little bit on this format, because
I flew into LA and we booked a conference room
at the Hollywood Roosevelt.
That's right.
Overlooking
we said
the
we are not
boulevard.
leaving this room until we figure it out.
And Ben drew a arrow from a small circle to a big circle.
Yep.
And he said, "This is the show.
This is what we got to do.
This is what we got to do." And in this, I don't want to be presumptuous. I don't want to sound conceited, but in this already infamous Hollywood meeting of minds at the Hollywood Roosevelt, Movies IMO had a conversation about, is it possible that we could improve our format? Now, I wasn't sure there was anything wrong with the format of whatever the hell we want to talk about, however we want to get into it.
I think it was most egregious when we had, which one was it? It was the most incongruent. It was like Cure for Wellness. And
was that the Francis Farmer episode?
It was.
I don't remember.
Anyway, we had one that was so incongruent. I remember in the description, Daniel tried to tie a theme and he said, the theme is, huh?
The theme might still be but it's going to be underlined in the same font. So we're doing a format shakeup.
So we had 6 months of just let's get in the sandbox and play, and now
we just wanted to stretch our legs and feel the sand beneath our toes. And I got to say, the sand's been feeling great. I got no notes on the collective sand. The sand's
and now we're at the moment of Titanic where he's like, take her to sea. We're like really going now.
And then we hit an iceberg.
Then we hit the iceberg.
That's a little ways down.
That's later.
Film. Yeah.
So we're doing a format shakeup. It's not really that different from what we were already doing, and that we are not going back to the old format. We are not talking about new releases. God help me. Unless unless there's one that sort of is applicable to new format. So
we're kind of indirectly talking about a new release next week.
Yes.
But that's kind of what I was getting at.
So we'll get there.
This offers us an opportunity to in a sideways way, talk about maybe something that's going on in the ether if we feel like it, if we want to venture into the discourse. We don't have to venture into the discourse.
I think we're venturing next week if
well, we might venture into that.
We all align on that
because
particular picture.
We have not all been on the microphone together since we've disclosed, and we should not get into it right now because we will not be able to get into the topics that we are here to discuss.
We need to disclose.
But I do need to disclose a little bit, but we can disclose later. I will disclose the new format. New format's very simple. We're going to take turns picking one topic for the episode.
A novel concept.
A novel stop me if you've heard this one. Every episode will feature a different topic. But
wow.
I think we're blowing the doors off this thing. So
this is podcasting.
We really blew the lid off podcasts.
What will remain consistent in the new format is we can pick whatever the hell topic we feel like talking about. But that topic will be the umbrella theme for the entire episode. And each of us will be bringing a title. And maybe like today, because we're kind of debuting the new format today. It might just be like we collectively land on a group of titles. It doesn't matter who's bringing what necessarily, but we're going to have an umbrella topic. It is going to be related to movies, but in the spirit of Movies IMO Encore, doesn't have to be. It could be a topic.
It would be fun to find a way to like bring a piece of music as part of the topic. It would be great.
Like Candle in the Wind for today's.
We'll be doing a Madonna episode.
I will be singing Candle in the Wind later in this episode.
Low key, Brandon. Madonna episode is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about WE. We could talk about.
Well, we're going to talk about the movies.
Yeah.
We could talk about Body of Evidence.
And we could talk about Body of Evidence and Confessions too. There's many different ways to play it.
I need to disclose about confessions.
For example, today's topic is Marilyn Monroe. For those watching on video, if my
it sure is
very tonally appropriate poster for Niagara doesn't give it away.
It really worked out that we pushed a week so that we can be talking about a past most famous woman in the world as the current most famous woman in the world is getting married, literally as we speak.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Why is everyone suddenly talking about Marilyn? She just had her anniversary. Is that right?
She was born in 1926.
I thought it was the power of movies IMO because suddenly everyone's talking about Marilyn. But
there's an Academy Museum exhibit, but I haven't been yet.
I haven't been either. And after I watched Some Like It Hot the other night, I think, and after I watched Some Like It Hot,
they played it at the Academy, didn't they?
Yeah, last night.
Yeah, they're playing all of her movies.
See, they copy us.
I watched Some Like It Hot on Monday, and then I was reading various sources of trivia afterwards, and was getting very frustrated, particularly on the IMDb trivia, which is a hotbed of facts. Nothing is ever misreported in there.
That's right.
I was getting a little frustrated by all the predominant Marilyn slander angles sort of being imbued into most of those factoids of trivia. And I thought to myself, I have got to get to the Academy Museum before we record because I would love to bring all of that wonderful stuff into the conversation. But unfortunately, I work 4 jobs simultaneously, so I was not able to make it to the museum. But
maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll try to go tomorrow on our nation's 250th birthday if the Academy Museum is open.
Maybe I'll take my PJ and meet you there.
Maybe you should.
Perfect.
Maybe you should. We can link up in the same conference room at the Hollywood Roosevelt as our meeting point.
Perfect.
And go from there. Ben, maybe it's going to be too hard to do that on Sunday after we see the Misfits because it's across town. But you let me know if you go tomorrow. Anyway, so this is Movies IMO. Because you got to introduce the show. You got to get into the credits. We are Movies IMO. This was a podcast that was once dead and is now alive. We are digging into, I guess, what I just said. We're going to pick a topic every single week that's somewhat movies related, and we're going to dig into it from there. When we get to the end, when we offer our topic for next week, maybe it'll make more sense how we're approaching this. But
yeah, because if this is supposedly the new topic, then my subtopic within the topic seems especially trolly.
Today?
Yeah.
I would say it invites a new layer of context into the proceedings.
I think that we will have a lot to talk about with regard to your film.
Yeah, yikes.
I picked the other films, which are the entire filmography of Marilyn Monroe.
The stress I had of watching 7 Marilyns.
God, I only watched 2.
I limited it to 3. And
did I watch those 3? Niagara was one of them. No, it wasn't.
No, it was not.
I didn't watch one of the requireds because I couldn't.
The Prince and the Showgirl.
Yeah,
I did watch it vis-a-vis my film because that's very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's exactly the angle on Marilyn Monroe the public's been clamoring for. The perspective of some fucking guy who met her once.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later.
Well, it's his titular week.
The official required films for this episode were Some Like It Hot, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and The Prince and the Show.
So I nailed 2 out of 3. 2.5 out of 3.
So we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm going to stand up for a visual reveal real quick. So I'm Daniel Crook, and I wanted to show off my favorite shirt that I'm wearing today.
It's wonderful.
It's Hank Azaria's. It's Hank Azaria's straight-looking tank top from The Birdcage.
Brilliant, wonderful.
I love that. Happy Pride.
Speaking of cornering the market, Ben has really been upping the game every week with the fun shirts, and today's Keith Haring shirt is no exception.
Wow!
But I was wearing my straight-looking tank this morning as I was getting ready to go to work, and I thought to myself, "I'm keeping this for the show." Anyway,
I've yet to wear a fun shirt.
You wore Frog and Toad.
Oh, right. I did.
We talked about how they're canonically gay.
They are canonically
gay.
Who
the hell are you guys?
I'm Ben MP.
Oh, I'm Brandon Kirby. Hello.
Today, we are talking about Marilyn Monroe.
Specifically,
And-
we have a question that we are trying to answer.
And
Yeah.
Ben, I would, even though I'm in charge, Ben, if you could pose the question and then maybe take us to the races with an opening statement of some sort.
The question is Marilyn Monroe the funniest person who ever lived? And my opening statement is yes.
Yes. Well, yes.
Well,
Yes, she absolutely is. Where should we begin with Marilyn Monroe?
The beginning.
Do you want to
Marilyn
talk?
Monroe
was
is
born.
I think it is not an overstatement to suggest that she is the most iconic person who has ever been in a movie. Visually, artistically. I don't know that she is
Corporeally.
the greatest actress who has ever been on screen, and that's mainly because she died. I think it is the greatest unfulfilled potential of any movie star who has ever died young. I often think about like great new Hollywood middle-aged women roles. What if Marilyn did The Graduate? What if Marilyn did A Woman Under the Influence? This could have been really exciting stuff, because I do think she had the potential to be the greatest actor who ever graced the screen, but she didn't have the chance to prove it.
You sound like a regular Dame Judi Dench in My Week with Marilyn, I have to say.
That's right. Thank you. Thanks very much.
You're welcome very much.
As a fellow dame, I forget what that actress's name is. However,
when I saw to yourself,
when I saw The Prince and the Showgirl at the Academy Museum last weekend, the two girls next to me were like, that woman, I forget her name, but they called her by name and were like, she was a phenomenal.
Is it Sybil Thorndike?
Something like that. That sounds right.
Thorndike.
I'll look it up real quick while Brandon breaks down the etymology of Thorndike.
Thorndike.
She's a thorny dyke.
That would be
yes, exactly.
I want the call sheet. Dame Sybil Thorndike.
Wonderful.
Great.
Dame Sybil.
She really fought for Marilyn in My Week with Marilyn.
She did. She saw Marilyn's talent.
Yes.
And we're gonna get into probably pretty soon specifically what she says, because kind of a problem with My Week with Marilyn, in my opinion, is it stays pretty much on the surface in terms of impressions of Marilyn. And one of them, which is very true, is she had a face that was built for the not just a face that was built for the camera, but a talent that was built for the camera in terms of how she is able to. Well, are we interpreting now? Is it analysis now?
Yes, it's always analysis.
Actually, before we jump, let's talk about, you said her face was built for the camera. Let's talk about the building of Marilyn Monroe. I need a PowerPoint now.
You do.
Like, people love to do, like, this is what Marilyn Monroe looked like as a teenager. Like, oh, she looks so different. And it's because she literally built her face. Everything that she does is, like, meticulously crafted for male sexual interest. And I say this in a celebratory way. She did this to become, she wanted to be the most famous woman alive, and she created the perfect image of that. The shape of her eyebrows, how wide she holds her eyes open, the makeup contouring on her nose, the color and the way that her lipstick shines to make it look subtly like there's cum on it. That's a fact it's documented. That is what she was trying to achieve with her lipstick.
So this is a great example of Marilyn as producer, in my opinion. Like, obviously, she has her image held against her in perpetuity. People are still discounting the intelligence of Marilyn Monroe and discounting the idea that she was in on it, so to speak.
Right.
And no one, let's keep the hyperbole going. Was there anyone better at preserving or creating and preserving a star image than Marilyn Monroe? Someone who was more.
I actually thought about this in preparation for this conversation.
Someone who was more in control of their image and how it would resonate with audiences.
I think there's only one person in her class, but I would say he comes second.
Tom Cruise?
No, but that is a good one.
That was a serious answer.
That is a good one, but that is not.
That's a good answer.
I would say it's Cary Grant. I think Cary Grant is the only person on her level.
Speaking of Some Like It
public
Hot.
perception, yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. But but Cary Grant has an enduring star power that goes without saying. But Marilyn has the most evergreen image, I have to say. Like to the point you were making earlier. But the discounting of her intelligence by people such as Sir Laurence Olivier on the set of The Prince and the Showgirl, as famously depicted in My Week with Marilyn. People trying to tell her what to do instead of trusting that perhaps the reason why she's the biggest star in the world is because Marilyn knows what she's doing.
Right.
That's what makes something like Some Like It Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, but Some Like It Hot so exciting is the melding of a distinctly Billy Wilder sensibility marrying in concert, right, with the Marilyn image. Like, it's not the credit goes to her, and well, we can keep going, but I don't want to get deep on Some Like It Hot.
Let's just start with Some Like It Hot. Billy is one of the few directors who really just let her fly, and I think he talked about, she was tough and drove him crazy, but he was always willing to work with her if the role was the role, because he had a quote of like, yeah, like maybe 15 takes are going to be usable, but the one are going to be unusable, but the one take that's usable is going to be better than literally every single other person he's ever worked with. And like, you just have to accept that she is a very fragile woman surrounded by people who are not helping her be strong.
That's a process, by the way, that, I realize how cliche this is, but that is a creative process, a workflow that is often attributed as genius in the hands of someone like David Fincher. He's going to make you do 50 takes, and you're not going to understand why. But then when you watch the finished product, you're going to understand why.
Yeah. And like, similarly, like the Nancy Meyers thing, she is like making the perfect kitchen to her. She was quoted not too long ago being like, when Kubrick does this with his production design, he's a genius, but when I am looking for the right things to put on a kitchen wall, it's a waste of time.
Right. Well, and then you watch Something's Gotta Give, and you think about like the 10 different shades of white that are going on in every single scene. And when Diane finally has that white turtleneck ripped off, there's an accumulated aesthetic power in an object like that because of the world she's created.
Yeah. But it's discounted because they're women.
Let's talk about Some Like It Hot.
Shall we?
The greatest movie I've ever seen.
It just might be.
This was I think a first watch for only me, right? You both had seen that. Well, obviously
I've seen it, but I have seen it embarrassingly long time since I'd last watched it, and in many ways was a revelatory rewatch for me. Not that I was like didn't like it before, but I liked it a lot more now than I did.
It's so funny. It's a perfect comedy. It's perfect.
It is perfect.
Blown away.
It is one of the perfect movies in my opinion.
Yeah.
Some Like It Hot, if you've never seen it, is the 1959 film directed by Billy Wilder and written by Billy and IAL Diamond. It might be the first movie. It might be the first movie that they did together, and then they worked together for the rest of their career. Someone can fact check that.
The second part's true.
Yes, at a certain point they started working together and then never stopped. And
like us,
it is canonically thought of as the funniest movie ever made.
It really is.
It is about two jazz performers in 1929 who witnessed the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in Chicago, and they have to get out of town, and so they dress up as women and join a women's jazz band that is traveling to Florida. On the jazz band is Sugar. Is her name Sugar Cane?
Oh, Sugar!
Yes, I think her last name is Cane.
Sugar something.
Yes.
Played by Marilyn Monroe.
She says it used to be something like Kislovsky.
Kowalczyk? Yeah.
Kowalczyk, yeah.
Something like that. And the two leads, the men, are played by Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. Tony Curtis is sort of the romantic lead, and Jack Lemmon is the comedic foil character. And once in Florida, Tony Curtis decides he is going to pursue Marilyn Sugar by pretending to be a
Cary
billionaire of sorts, Cary Grant. And meanwhile, Jack Lemmon's character, Daphne, Josephine,
I'm Daphne,
is experiencing gender euphoria dressed as a woman.
And shaking those maracas.
Having the time of his life.
And letting an actual millionaire fall in love with her.
Yes.
Do we want to start with gender euphoria? Wilder's confident, elegant direction. Can I start? Actually, can I start with something?
Yes.
I would like to talk about the phenomenon known as suspension of disbelief, because this is something that modern audiences would be wise to cotton to.
Because those are men in dresses.
Not just that. Do I think that the Friends of the Italian Opera, the Italian X Cultural Society, of all of the places to meet in the entire United States of America continentally, that they would choose the exact same San Diego / Florida holiday resort as our heroines?
Well, sure, certainly.
Yeah, of course. It's the reason I want to talk about suspension of disbelief is everything in this film is pretty much perfect in terms of how it operates as a narrative. What I mean by that is our two
it very much
friends
fits together like a watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's directed like clockwork too, with the pacing and also with the staging. This is a movie that invites you, the audience, to take about 10,000 leaps of logic in order to get on board with what's happening, such as there just happens to be two positions available at the exact instruments that Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon play. It just so happens that they are in the garage when the St. Valentine's Massacre occurs. It just so happens that the mobsters are going to be at that same Florida resort later. It just so happens. You can go on down the list. Modern audiences have a real cynicism problem. And just to be clear, you'd be hard pressed to find a creative person more cynical than Billy Wilder. So it's not as if the movie is some sort of altruistic take on humanity that just requires you to open your heart. When a film is directed as confidently as this one is, as elegantly, like I said, when every little piece fits together perfectly, whether it's the chaps, what's the monster's name? Spats. Whether it's the way that Spats is introduced, Spats first in so many moments that allow you to understand exactly what's going on, whether it's the way that the film is able to like slow down time in those scenes with Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe, the film has more than earned you, the audience, to suspend your disbelief. I feel like if this movie came out today, there would be all sorts of shit on Letterboxd about why this would never happen, XYZ.
Right.
And audience, I'm gonna. There's so much to say, but I don't want to just.
I thought about
rambling.
that while watching Gentlemen Prefer Blondes this morning.
That's an interesting
courtroom
comparison.
sequence. That's obviously not happening in real life.
Well, and I've seen Anatomy of a Fall, so I know there's no French courtroom that's happening like that because there's no literary debate.
That's right.
Even though, as I learned in my week with Marilyn could have brought up James Joyce's Ulysses in that discussion. But of course, she's not in the courtroom.
That also happens in Blonde. In Blonde, she wants to talk about the Dostoevsky she's reading or whatever, and Arthur Miller is like, shut up.
Wow, remember Blonde?
We did not watch Blonde for this episode.
We almost did.
So I just wanted to say that, and maybe you guys have something to say on the topic. But it's
a
perfect film that would not hold up to a modern level of scrutiny.
It's a farce,
go ahead.
And you don't question it because it's a farce.
Because
you're having fun.
The Naked Gun, which came out last year, which I proudly believe is one of the 10 best movies of last year. I feel like people would also agree with that if it didn't exist in a cartoon world, which like Some Like It Hot exists in a cartoon world. Like there is something that holds people against. And I think that that's true of people in the day of when Some Like It Hot came out. Like it didn't get Academy Award nominations. It might have gotten a screenplay nomination for Billy. Marilyn did not get an Oscar nomination.
Should have won Best Actress.
And so Marilyn, goes down as one of the best actresses never having gotten an Academy Award nomination.
Correct. She is easily the best, I would say, to have never been nominated.
And Some Like It Hot is
crazy.
such an easy way to award her too. Like, it's not as if there weren't opportunities, that she wasn't working with the types of filmmakers who would, make a project that would demand like that level of heightened scrutiny, that it is worthy of an Oscar. It's the perfect vehicle for her. I going back to what you were saying, Ben,
I believe
about
she won the Golden
World,
Globe, but
I think that's correct. And that's correct. Which I'm pretty sure that's correct anyway.
I know that it's correct. I don't need to act like I don't know that.
On the Cartoon World piece, though, this is a movie where a police officer is seen reading the Police Gazette. Like, it's a goofy ass movie.
It's goofy. You're having fun.
I was going to say, to your point about suspension of disbelief, there's a screenwriting truism that I think about a lot, that I attribute it to Billy Wilder, but it could be from somewhere else. But let's say that Billy invented it, just that you can use coincidence to make things worse for your characters, but you cannot use coincidence to make things better for your characters. And I think that this movie does exactly that, of like, you can send the mobsters exactly to their hotel
to inconvenience
because it makes things worse.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's an interesting perspective. I agree with that. But there's coincidences in the film that might, quote unquote, work out for the better.
Right, like they have the same instruments as the band needs.
But every coincidence complicates the plot.
Yes,
or presents a situation that will then be exploited for maximum comic potential.
Not to bring up a new release, but I thought about this a lot during Toy Story 5 because neither of you have seen, so I'll keep this brief. But to your point, there are so many coincidences in Toy Story 5, but they either complicate things or create roadblocks. So I allowed it. Yeah. But yeah, that's a movie.
Who wrote Toy Story 5?
I don't know if it was Stanton. I don't know.
I know Stanton directed it.
I can look really quick.
Rashida Jones wrote the last one.
That's right.
Rashida Jones wrote 4?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Rashida Jones also wrote The Invite now in theaters.
Because I'm quite excited to see it.
Yeah, me too.
You saw it already?
No, I want to see it.
You want to see it?
I might be seeing it this weekend also.
I'm a big supporter of
Stanton and McKenna Harris wrote it.
When The Invite premiered at Sundance, I was thinking, oh man, this is such a bummer that the hype machine's working overtime, because this does sound like a funny movie, but it's going to inevitably get praised to high heaven in a way that makes it difficult to shake that when you're watching the movie, which I try to divorce, but sometimes it's hard. Now that the buzz is Penelope Cruz possible Best Supporting Actress contender,
right?
I haven't seen it, but I already love it. Not that we form opinions on movies before we watch them.
That's right.
Never.
Let's talk about the state of Marilyn in 1959.
Please.
I think she's been divorced twice at that point. I think she's been to rehab at that point. She has had very public trouble with her health, with drugs. And I think she was already sort of seen as a liability in terms of box office. I think The Prince and the Showgirl didn't do particularly well necessarily. It was not the massive success of like 7 Year Itch. Like if you the years of Marilyn being the top box office draw are basically 1953 to 1955, and then Some Like It Hot is another big box office moment, but like the consistency is just those couple years, because then she moves to New York to start working with not Stanislavski, but who brought
Lee
Strasberg and his wife, famously portrayed in My Week with Marilyn.
Yes.
But the Marilyn Monroe persona is not entirely present in the film. We're starting to see it come apart. It's not fully come apart, and I think if she had lived longer, she had not been murdered. We'll talk about that later. In
which movie is it starting to come apart?
I think it is this movie. It's starting to come apart. I think in The Prince and the Showgirl, she is still very much the Marilyn character, and I think that this film has a lot of the look of the Marilyn character, but there is a different sort of soul in it than like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Yeah.
Like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, yes, she is playing stupid but is actually smart. That is basically the Marilyn character. But she still is like a surface level identity.
Yeah, I'll run with this. So I think her performance in Some Like It Hot has a far more bruised quality. Like I think she is bearing far more of her soul in this one. I think there's a lot of raw human emotion. But the reason I find it interesting, based off what you've just said, is that if Marilyn is coming off of tabloid scandal, going into something like Some Like It Hot, the character of Sugar is plagued by some of these same issues. She has a dependence on alcohol. She is she's portrayed as a mess. She's portrayed as a liability to the production that she's working within.
Yeah.
All of which would have been she would have been tagged with around the time. But it's that quality though that I think it's an interesting point you're making, and I agree with it, that the facade is breaking, but it's not falling apart on its own. She's shoving a new type of pathos through it.
Yes.
And so that's what makes so many moments in this performance arresting, the most devastating moments of the performance, both when you meet her in a way, and then when she's on the phone with Tony Curtis in the other room where he's pretending to be the billionaire and he's telling her that he's shipping off to South America where he has a new wife waiting for him. And then she like goes back into their room and is distraught. Like there's a lot more tragedy in this performance, even though it is one of the funniest performances ever committed to film.
I agree. I think you nailed it on the head with it has a lot more soul. We are seeing the Marilyn soul, I think, for the first time in this film. Yeah. I wanted to watch Let's Make Love before, which is a Marilyn, one of the few left that I have not seen, and it is her final film, and I would have loved to see that. I have seen The Misfits before, and I was going to watch that before we recorded, but then I saw it's playing on the 35 millimeter in 2 days from now, and Daniel and I will be in attendance.
Beautiful.
Can I quickly read the letterbox logline for the Marilyn film Let's Make It Legal from 1951?
Yes, please.
Just while we're talking about other projects that we have or have not seen. It's the tagline of the film. Let's make it legal. Who cares if it's legal, as long as it's tempting, virile, tantalizing, smooth. Wow. That's it.
Wow.
That sounds great.
What's the punctuation?
It is tempting, exclamation point, virile, exclamation point, tantalizing, exclamation point, smooth, exclamation point, wow, exclamation point.
Right.
Should we have talked about
Threw on the wow?
Probably.
Let's Make It Legal.
It was written by I.L. Diamond.
Was he a perv? And I say that complimentarily.
I think of Billy as the ultimate perv in a non-threatening way. Like it's like in a totally innocuous way. Like he was never, as far as the evidence has been shown to us, he was never like doing what's happening in the apartment, but he is amused by what's happening in the apartment. But he also sees it as completely nefarious and disgusting, but he is also amused by it.
And has proximity to it. He probably knows plenty of men who are doing this.
Like, the apartment was literally based on Marilyn's agent, Jay Cantor, who Billy found out had a second apartment in Beverly Hills in his name that the senior partners at MCA could use to bring women to.
Right. I would never take the apartment away from Shirley MacLaine, but on the line of thinking we're discussing right now, Marilyn would have been a very interesting lead of the apartment. On the idea of we meet her as the cheerful elevator girl with a smile on her face and a joke at the ready, and then we find out actually there's some tragic stuff going on. I think about like the whole second act of that movie.
Yeah. I think at that moment Billy was too bruised from the experience of Some Like It Hot to go through it again.
Well.
But Billy was going to work with her again, and then she died. Kiss Me Stupid was written for Marilyn, and Kim Novak is in the movie. And Kim Novak, God bless her, she plays it really vulgar. And Marilyn would not have been vulgar. Marilyn is full of class and charm and perfection. What else is there to say about Some Like It Hot? When there, I mean, there's so much to say.
Where to start?
I like how perfectly compartmentalized the movie is. Like, Ben, you said it in our group chat, like it goes from this to this to this. And my favorite section is the train. The train is just
the train section.
So fun and just your laugh out.
Yeah. Speaking of like Billy the perv, like the train section is an excellent example of that. It's
a little pervy.
It's his idea of what women are doing when they're alone.
Right. They're all cramming into the same bunk and making Manhattans.
They're just kicking their feet, sharing salami and crackers. And
my God, the cracker and salami reveal is hysterical.
And like when they all get to Florida and they're like screaming at the ocean and they're just like, ee! And they're playing with the ball and like throwing "Does he love me" type of rhyme situation.
And who's having more fun than Jack Lemmon?
Than
no,
Daphne.
Exactly. Daphne's having the time of her life. Yeah, that character's trajectory into like basically being okay with being wooed by the real millionaire to the point where they're on the boat at the end and Daphne says, "I'm a man." And I think the final line of the movie is, what does he say? There's
nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
It is the
they're going to be in
a
gay relationship.
Yeah, it's obviously there's a trans reading, there's like an egg crack reading. I think there's
Osgood
also
sees
like
Daphne's soul
awakening,
and they
absolutely
Osgood doesn't care.
No,
he's
Osgood
like
says,
he
this
probably
is great.
knew Daphne was a man the whole time.
That's kind of always been my read on it. Is I don't know if he knew right away, but eventually
he figured it out
and
was okay with it.
So not a problem for me.
That
I am a-okay.
I mean that he's a chaser. The sequence where Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe are getting hot and heavy on the boat.
The cut back and forth.
As the camera whip pans over to Daphne and Osgood cutting
so
a rug.
Doing the tango.
It's
and
so
good. Daphne is put off. And then at one point we cut back and Daphne's fully into the dance.
Yeah. And they're the last ones there.
Rose back and forth between their teeth.
That is the gender euphoria
absolutely
shift in that exact scene.
And when Daphne goes back to bed, she's still shaking the maracas and can't sleep. She's finally feeling herself.
Yes.
It's a spectacular performance, and Jack Lemmon is the only one of the three who gets nominated for an Oscar for this movie.
Really?
And yeah, and I think he more than deserves it.
Sure.
And I think that's probably largely just because he's Jack Lemmon.
He's Jack Lemmon, and it is I think the biggest role. It has the most showy meat to it, right?
Sure. And he's going big, even though ultimately he is the least essential character to the narrative. The three of them are all essential to the narrative. But Can
I just tell you, this just popped into my brain, but my biggest laugh out of I was laughing through this whole movie. Like, Ben, when you said I was going to laugh, I was cracking up.
I knew you were going to crack up.
I was cracking up. But my biggest laugh, which was really unexpected, was when he's doing the quick changes between his like drag quick change between the millionaire back to the lady. What's his name as the woman?
Josephine,
yes.
Josephine.
And he's in the tub, and then the reveal is that he gets up from the tub and he's in the full millionaire suit.
He's got the full suit on.
Full of cracking up. So good.
I was cracking up.
And by the way, that's another example of something that doesn't make any sense, and it couldn't matter less. There's no way he's beating them up to the room, unless he's climbing up the side like he does.
I've literally always
imagined
that's what he's doing. Climbed up the side of the hotel.
He must have been,
and lost himself in the tub, full suit.
It doesn't matter,
and it doesn't matter because that gag reveal, is so good. It's the biggest laugh.
This is maybe a bad example to illustrate this point, but again, the suspension of disbelief. I'm not sure what more Billy Wilder has to do to earn it from you when every single scene is directed with so much pizzazz. I think about on the train when Sue what's her name, Singing Sue or something, the woman who's the head of the band,
the manager or whatever.
She's the lead of the band or whatever. She's complaining to the manager about the girls and is saying like,
Joey shouts,
Beanstalk.
Beanstalk. What's going on with those two new girls? And she cuts herself off to take the Alka-Seltzer
Sweet
off her
Sue
tongue
and her society syncopators
that she had just put on there. That removal of the Alka-Seltzer that has just gone in.
Yeah.
That is the Wilder touch, right? Like it's
that
movies
detail.
full of moments like that. It's just so electric and undeniable and fun. It's fucking fun. This is one of the most fun movies.
My biggest laugh after seeing it hundreds of times, I have not literally seen it hundreds of times.
But
I have probably seen it at least 25 times. Is when they're on the train still and Marilyn is like to Jack Lemmon, like, your legs are so cold, and she starts to vigorously rub them and her breasts are jiggling and it looks like she's just jerking them off screen, and Jack Lemmon is like praying not to come, and it's wonderful.
It's so funny. There's so much good physical
a wonderful
comedy.
bit of physical comedy for Marilyn to do.
Yeah.
My biggest crack up, which I've mentioned several times already, is when they are at the train platform and they are going back and forth on the plan. I'm Josephine, you're Geraldine, I'm Josephine. And then the second that they meet the band and introduce themselves, Jack Lemmon says, I'm Daphne.
That's
Daphne.
when the spirit of Daphne just entered him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's fun. It's fun. I can't stop laughing at it because it makes me so happy. Like it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the precursor to the gender euphoria to come.
Yeah. It is.
Daphne is speaking her truth in that moment, and the timing of it is just too perfect.
She channeled.
I'm Daphne.
She is going to marry Osgood and start going by Daphne for the rest of her life.
That's right. That's right. I just Lemmon is such a goblin, and I say that complimentary.
Yeah,
like his energy is so. I mean, I don't know. He's so goblin-esque to me, and you think about like the evil form of it in Shortcuts, right? Like there's the darker elements of Lemmon are in that same sort of rascal category.
Yeah,
but I'm
like
Daphne just really makes me happy. Yes. Anything we should say about Marilyn here before we move on, since she is the topic of the show, apart from it's a sensational performance.
This was the first one I watched before I realized I had seen Gentlemen Prefer Blondes before, but I had seen it when I was like in core brain and like barely remembered it. So it really was for me like seeing Marilyn's screen presence for the first time, and it really just is unbelievable, one of a kind. Like, and that's why Niagara pisses me off, because when she's not on screen, I'm like, what are we doing?
Right.
Yeah. Fuzzy and the lollipop.
Niagara.
Should we talk about Niagara? Because that's an
let's talk
segue.
about Niagara. With one, I
Brandon's
will just say
right.
Some Like a Hot was
Brandon's
also
right.
my favorite, my first Marilyn ever when I was like
mine
12 or 13.
Would have been mine too.
I have to say Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is my first, but Some Like a Hot felt like my first.
You could do a lot worse than Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
That's right.
Absolutely. That one also has a lot of the great physical humor. But yeah, Niagara. The last 20 minutes, I'm like, I'm just going to turn it off. How about that? How about that?
I did finish it, but I was like,
once she's dead, who gives a fuck?
Spoilers for Niagara.
Literally.
Can I try and do Niagara plot from memory? It's been years since I've watched it.
Yes, please
so
do.
Niagara, I think, has an incredible setup that largely it fails to deliver on.
Yeah,
which is
I
that
agree.
we are at a Niagara Falls hotel, roadside motel, and we are following two couples staying in the same hotel. And one are like square corporate types. They don't seem to be
is so annoying.
Yeah, they don't seem to be making a lot of whoopee, and yet he's the main character of the film.
Why is he the main character?
And then the other couple is Marilyn
If they had
Monroe.
made Niagara 6 months later, they would have rewritten it for Marilyn. She was not Marilyn Monroe yet.
Well, I've always.
But by the time it was
wasn't
released, she's first billed. But
right. This is not an original. This is a DVD poster that really I think nails the tone of Niagara behind me.
Yeah, like I said before we hit record, she doesn't smile once in this film.
Niagara becomes a film noir, right? But the most interesting thing about it is Marilyn's performance, and I always pitch this movie to people by first saying it's not as interesting as it should be, but it is worth a watch, and it might be an essential watch. But it's
just
basically
for her, because she is.
It's one of those movies that is so close to being great that you know exactly what to change.
Well, the problems that can be summed up in 2 words: shredded wheat. So we've just
spend the shredded
way
wheat.
too much time with shredded wheat. But my pitch is always in the margins of this movie is Marilyn Monroe's Double Indemnity. It is a really exciting turn. She's basically in the Stanwyck role.
That it's fantastic.
It's really,
but when
really
it's
quite
doing
good.
Whatever else it feels like doing, it's a snooze.
Right.
But I love the setting, and I love when the other wife slips and falls and almost goes through the railing. I
love when it turns out the second wife is the heroine of the film, and you're just like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? What's going on?
There's a lot of what are we doing here in Niagara?
Like I will say the murder of Marilyn is like beautifully done, wonderfully shot. And I'm like, well, she's got to get back up.
And
right. I felt that way. I remember feeling that way too.
Like, why are we doing boat and saving
with
the second
other
wife
characters?
With other characers.
It's a movie that
Marilyn needs to get on the rocks, not this bitch.
That's right.
Sorry, I was away from the mic. Not this bitch.
The movie is always presented with 2 roads.
Marilyn does get the chance to do it in River of No Return.
I'd like to see.
She and Robert Mitchum are on the whitewater. When I
learned that she's opposite Mitchum in that one, that really sealed the deal. For wanting to check that out.
I just would like to paint the scene of how Marilyn is introduced in Niagara.
Please.
Joseph Cotton walks into their cabin. Marilyn is asleep in the middle of the day. There's like a shaft of light across her body. She is fully nude under this very sheer sheet, full beat on her face.
Like Charlize Theron in The Italian Job.
That's how she woke up. Daddy?
And the sheet is like clinging to her body. It's perfection. It is perfection. It is right. 1953 is the year that changed Marilyn's life, sort of vibes. And this is the first movie that came out that year with her in it. And this is how she was introduced to the American public as a leading lady, was the naked blonde in the bed who is planning nefarious things against her older husband. And she does it so well. I wish that she had more roles like this. She never really did a noir again.
Because that is like, that's what she does so well.
Yeah. She is like in terms of iconography, she is an ultimate femme fatale, and she was really underused as that because she's like 10 years too young to be in like the 40s heyday of noir.
Sure.
When Asphalt Jungle's a few years before this, I guess. Yeah, so I haven't seen
Clash by
Asphalt.
Night is
so that's the one I'm thinking of, because I've seen Clash by Night, and that's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I really hardly remember Marilyn in it. But I wasn't watching it for Marilyn, so that's probably why.
And then I was just watching
it for Barbara Stanwyck.
There's the dance in the middle of Niagara. And she is there alone. She's there without her husband, and she leans on the steps as she talks to the secondary couple, and it's just like they could be not on screen, and like if they don't.
In fact, I wish they weren't.
Who gives a fuck about these other people? Like, literally, I could just watch Marilyn running her errands with that energy, and that's a more compelling movie than
any time those schmucks are on screen.
You could say the same about My Week with Marilyn, which we'll get to later.
Well,
anytime the camera's not on Marilyn, I'm out of there.
Oh, maybe I'm clocked out.
It is, but that is ultimately the fundamental flaw of Niagara, is it doesn't seem to know what it has, and a full script rewrite would have been necessary to solve that problem. But she was not an unknown when you probably could have known better. And
she was in like 5 movies a year, like for like 4 years in a row leading up to this.
She was in a Best Picture winner.
Mm-hmm.
It's All About Eve.
I just love that every single, at least the ones I've seen, every single one she's in, they do some big like wah, 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 music with showing her, and it's always
I believe in some like a hot she is introduced ass first, like
that's correct.
Passions of a Dangerous Mind.
And then Niagara, I mean, after her nude entrance, like after that, when she goes to do errands, it's like ass, and the husband like tips over, and then in the 7-Year Itch, he looks up so hard he snaps his neck. I mean, it's just so funny that.
But again,
that was her image.
Marilyn as producer, she walked around with a little voice box that was making those noises. That was diegetic sound.
That was her doing. Has forgotten her key in the 7-Year Itch, so the guy has to let her in. And so the first time you see her is like through the shade of the front door, and like she looks ethereal and angelic.
Like an angel. And then she ascends the stairs.
She ascends the stairs.
And he looks up and snaps his neck.
Yep.
Yes, trying to look. And he does it a second time. I would know because I just watched this movie an hour ago.
What is it that Jack Lemmon says about her entrance? She's like Jell-O on stilts?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Which, by the way, she is. By the way, she is. And you know who was controlling that? Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
It's like just not like... There's a voyeurism problem with Marilyn Monroe, but again, even that is insulting her intelligence, because you're not suppose that she's controlling controlling the image.
Yes.
More so than the camera placement. The same is not true in My Week with Marilyn, I should say. It's one of the most iconic screen entrances of all time, and some like it hot. And it's not just because it's an ass reveal, even though it's her ass reveal. Like she's the one making it move like that. But the way she walks, incredible physical performer.
It's completely in control. Every body movement, it's on purpose.
I think her physicality is one of my favorite things about her. There's a really intense level of commitment that I don't know how to describe, but it's like, it's just the way that she just throws herself into things. Like literally, she throws her body around.
I think you could run the clip of her bouncing on her bed on the ship in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Like a goddamn paint mixer.
And
it's incredible.
There's a moment in How to Marry a Millionaire at the end. She wants to introduce the other girls to her new husband, and she sprints out of the room. Like a full tilt sprint from standing. That's just really funny.
Well, you can take it on obviously the comic level is what we're talking about, but that moment again, when she goes back into Daphne and Josephine's room in Some Like It Hot, where she's just gotten the bad news about her beau, her physical language is completely defeated. Like she's disappearing before your eyes the way she walks in. It's zapped of that va-va-voom that has, compare it with the entrance that she makes.
There's a very famous story about the line when she enters in that scene is, "Where's the bourbon?" She could not get the line, and so they had to paste it in every drawer.
Yeah, right.
Because they didn't know which drawer would she open.
Oh
and
my God.
The story is always framed as how unprofessional she is, and not how in the moment she is.
Yeah, so that's one of the qualities. So your opening question for the episode is Marilyn Monroe the funniest person to ever be on screen? I think you have to look at her ability. Like, I guess I could phrase it a different way. She believes everything she's saying on screen.
Yeah.
Everything is motivated.
Just like in My Week with Marilyn, she has to believe it.
Hey, just like in My Week with Marilyn.
Just like in My Week with Marilyn.
She has to believe it. Otherwise, she can't
She says
do it.
She doesn't get it, and they scoff at her.
It's the source of so much immortal comedy, especially in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. You know, when she says, I wrote it down, what did she say? "Is this the way to Europe, France?"
This the way to Europe, France.
That's a tough line that's a tough line to read because it is so clearly shticky.
Right.
And the way that she doubles down, not just because her dialogue tells her to, but she doesn't give an inch on I said the wrong thing here. And so like it's the source of so much of her comedy. And
you wouldn't say, is this the way to North America, Mexico? I would if that's where I was trying to get to.
Yeah, like, right.
And you're just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
you're right.
Fair enough.
You are right.
Says.
Let's move on to Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Okay.
Yeah, we already have kind of. My favorite scene is when she's stuck in the porthole.
I love
that little
the child.
The child.
Mr. Spofford.
Outstanding child performance.
Incredible.
Really, really funny. Because the gag is
thrown.
already there. He's a little boy and they all think he's going to be some eligible bachelor.
Yep.
He doesn't even have to say anything for it to be funny. And yet it's funnier when he opens his mouth. So A+ to that kid.
He says, I'm going to help you because 1, I'm too young to go to prison, and 2, you have a strange animal magnetism about you.
I'm glad you wrote it down or knew I have it memorized.
That is a line that I know.
That's locked in. Yeah, because that's the line.
And when they first meet him, they're like, are you traveling alone? And he's like, no, I have a valet, a tutor, and a trainer.
Yes.
Rolling deep, he's got the full entourage.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is about 2 nightclub performers, Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell, who Marilyn is engaged to a wealthy man whose father is trying to stop the marriage. They are traveling to Europe to get married away from the father. And then the father puts a stop to the son going. So it's just the 2 women traveling to Europe. And it's a little convoluted as to why that is, how that is set up, but we just roll with it.
Beside the point. Completely beside the point.
And they are tailed by a private investigator. And the private investigator is trying to show Marilyn doing, like, having fun with other men, trying to prove that she's not interested in the man that she might be betrothed to.
Doing cheating.
She can't be doing cheating.
And Marilyn is above board. Lorelei Lee is completely above board. As she says when she meets the father at the end of the film, she is literally above board. Yes, I do want the money, but I also love the man, and it's no different than a man wanting a beautiful woman to love. It sure does help, she says. And the dad's like, well, fuck me. He's just like,
Please.
He's just like, you got me there. He sees it. So,
yes, I would say quickly, the micro expressions, I think, like Marilyn's ability to surprise you when she winks, when she smiles, when she goes for like a naughty innuendo. It always takes me by surprise. I think that she has an ability to sort of lull you into submission, and then she strikes.
Yeah.
And in this film, she does it in the musical numbers, and she does it in the dialogue scenes.
I think she really has a keen eye for the details of a performance, and like everything is meticulously planned. But speaking of fucking Laurence Olivier was also meticulously planned, but he was not putting spirit into it. And Marilyn is able to hit the note perfectly, and it is like perfectly in character. It's not just the time. She's able to put everything together. I think Gentlemen Prefer Blonde is like the quintessential Marilyn movie. Like it's the one that broke her as a big star. It is the most perfect representation of like the Marilyn character, and it has the song in it. Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend is like literally iconic and is perfectly done. And there's one shot in it where her hair is messed up, and I'm like, that must have killed her. I know that she was very upset about that. But Hello?
Okay, that sounded like a sound effect in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Boing.
Or investigation of a citizen above suspicion.
Yes.
Should have had that
Is
during
Ennio
that
Morricone
episode.
in the room?
I love
Anyway,
when
sorry.
they are at dinner or the club on the ship and Marilyn is just like rattling off questions to the men. Like, have you ever been to Europe before? Are you traveling alone? And then without missing a beat, I just adore conversation, don't you? And she hasn't
so
given
good.
them time to respond.
No, I mean, and that's impeccable
so
comic timing
funny,
because she
yes.
lets them get just a word in before she moves on to the next one.
Mhm.
And the lack of, I guess, I don't think shame is the right word, but just the way that she barrels ahead without hesitation.
Yeah.
I mean, stop me if you've heard this one. Marilyn Monroe is a master of comic timing.
Mm-hmm. Is she the funniest person alive? I think that
Yes.
yes.
It's not that I disagree with the sentiment. I just didn't fully grapple with the ramifications of it.
How
she's-
so?
Well, I just like, there's only one. What to be one of one.
Right.
And I think there's no question she's in the upper echelon. I might as well just say yes, but I just can't commit yet because I'm forgetting someone.
You need to think about all of the possibilities.
Well, we haven't talked about Kevin James yet.
Right. Mm-hmm. Paul Blart, Mall Cop.
Yeah, we got to talk about Blart,
the King of Queens.
Brandon. We haven't talked about Pauly Shore. We haven't talked about.
Let's talk about how
successful
the Paul Blart movies were. I know I worked with.
They made a lot of money.
I worked with the line producer of both of those movies. On the second one, on the second Paul Blart Mall Cop, they were like so. They brought so much money into the economy of where it was shot, which I think was Rhode Island. Like, the line producer just casually said to the concierge, it would really be better for me to just have a treadmill in my room. They brought her one. They brought her not one from the gym. They bought a new treadmill and brought it to her room.
This is why local productions are so important. We are trying to get production back to Los Angeles, and we should, and that should be #1 priority. But this is the benefit of a Taylor Swift concert coming to town or a film production coming to your city. A lot of money gets pumped in the economy. To quote President Joe Biden, it grows the economy.
It grows the economy.
Hurts, what does he say?
Hurts nobody.
Hurts nobody. Benefits everybody. Grows the economy.
I forgot about that quote. That was a good
Paul
quote.
Blart.
Well, he kind of fucked himself on the quotability there when he allowed so much genocide. But
R.I.P.
There was a time when that quote did not have an asterisk on it. Anyway, so Paul Blart Mall Cop, off a budget of $26 million, makes $186 million.
Does it have a subtitle?
Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, that's what it's called.
No subtitle.
Grossed, a little bit less, 107 off of a $30 to $40 million
What year
budget.
are we talking about for Paul Blart?
So
Blart
2 is, of course, in 2015. Paul Blart 1 is in
Famously.
2009. You could say that the Paul Blart series bookends the Obama era in American culture.
You're right. That's
And
so
I would.
true. I would say exactly that.
And I am.
Why were they 6 years apart?
That's a really good question, Brandon. And it's a symptom of a bygone era. They wouldn't wait that long now.
No,
I frankly
greenlighting the sequel to come out 2 years later.
More on this later, but I just saw the new Jackass movie, and I forgot there were 4 years in between that one and Jackass Forever.
Wow.
How long?
It's been that long.
I'm surprised it was that long. I've never seen a Jackass. Not one.
2023 is like a year that didn't happen.
Really would recommend it.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Should I watch all 5, 6 Jackasses?
Look,
I think you would crack up.
The Jackass films
Am I gonna
are
crack
about
up?
Brandon. The Jackass films are about straight men penetrating each other to bring pleasure to one another. It's an incredibly fun premise.
I believe John Waters says that they are gay snuff films.
He calls them gay snuff films for straight audiences. And Johnny Knoxville gave one of the great answers on the press tour for Jackass Forever, where the journalist was saying, like, I hope you're not offended by this, but the Jackass films have always seemed a little gay to me. And his immortal response was, I'm offended that you just said a little. Like, he wears a John Waters shirt in this last one.
Great.
I think Johnny Knoxville is one of our great allies.
And he's beautiful.
And
there's an underrated hot guy.
He is
I
hot.
would put
really
Johnny.
hot.
I would put 2020's Johnny Knoxville above Roger Sterling in the Silver Fox category.
Wow.
Personally,
Definitely.
I mean, the thing about Knoxville is he's hot at every single age.
Yeah,
he looks so
it's true.
good. God, he looks good.
I feel like
Hot guy
but
in a
like, for
way.
instance, I would not say Johnny Knoxville is the funniest person to ever have a screen career. I wouldn't say that. But, you know, there are
He's
these
up there.
other people I have to think
Imagine if they had Marilyn Monroe in a Jackass. I bet she would have had fun.
She would have killed
cracked
it.
up.
She would have
about.
cracked,
Up.
She would
I
have had
also
a great
like.
time.
I think that Jennifer Lawrence should maybe be in contention for one of the funniest people to ever be on screen.
Sure.
I think that if Keke Palmer does more movies, we might have to start talking about Keke Palmer in this echelon.
All right. Okay.
But I mean, we're talking about Marilyn Monroe. I'm not saying these are contenders above Marilyn.
Daniel. I prefer hyperbole and definitive statements.
That's right.
I can't disagree. I'm prone to it myself. I think for some reason this one got stuck in my bonnet.
You got
the
this
bees
even
in
though
there
even though I love the premise, and I think it's probably right.
And Ben's boats are afloat, just like that boat.
Y'all's boats are afloat and
Blondes.
moving backwards, like the boat and Some Like It Hot.
Shall
Another
we-
sublime comic detail that the boat only goes in reverse when Tony Curtis is driving it. And
right.
so when they
That's
return to
right.
the dock, it's also in reverse. And then when
That's right.
Osgood hops in, not half a second later, he's going in forward motion.
Or forward.
It's just funny shit. I think I wanted to say since we're talking about Some Like It Hot again, I think it's interesting to compare Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Some Like It Hot because like vis-a-vis their directors because they're both on a boat. They both lay claim to maybe the most fun movie of all time. They both lay claim to most iconic Marilyn performance of all time. But it's interesting to compare the style of the two because the whole thing about Hawks is like the invisible craft.
Right.
Whereas Wilder is constantly reminding you in the way he's staging a scene, the way he's introducing a scene with these sort of clever, sublime visual flourishes. Some Like It Hot is a much showier movie in terms of what the camera's doing, but in my opinion, but there's also plenty of elements in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes that are, you know, not invisible, such as all the wonderful sound effects. Like when Jane Russell slaps that boxer's shoulder with a very satisfying wet slap.
Smack. Should we move on to
I was just gonna say the How to Marry a Millionaire, not a movie that is very good or on our list of movies to watch, is basically the poor man's Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. It's the same sort of premise. We're looking for rich men. And the premise of that is like Lauren Bacall, Betty Grable, and Marilyn Monroe have split like an apartment at the Dakota to pretend that they're rich. They have just enough money to last 1 year. They gotta land rich husbands in that year. They don't have any furniture.
Fun.
They keep inviting men over to the apartment. They're like, sorry, we're redoing the apartment. We're in between furniture. And it really shows like what a skilled director does in the style of like the invisible classical Hollywood style that Hawks is arguably the single best at. And the director of How to Marry a Millionaire is like Gene Negulesco. I don't know how to say his last name. I think that's who directed it. And who is just trash. Yes, that is who it is. The director of no movie that is worth mentioning.
We did have an email that I've been needing to get back to in the Movies IMO Gmail that was from his great granddaughter who wanted to give us a generous bounty of cash for production. But
sorry,
I haven't responded yet, so I think keep it.
Delete it.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't really have anything else to say about that, but it's just like they're also trying to show off the CinemaScope in How to Marry a Millionaire, so it's just like a lot of like long takes where Marilyn is really far away from the camera, and whereas
that's not going to work.
Who needs that?
For me,
in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, she's up front and center, baby. She's
where she deserves
in the
to
mix.
be.
She's in the mix.
I just shout out real quick the little aside in Some Like It Hot that is a joke about how to marry a millionaire when Daphne's experiencing gender euphoria and says that this might be his last chance to marry a millionaire. Like you can, it made me think about the way Peter Bogdanovich couldn't help himself in What's Up, Doc, to make the love means never having to say you're sorry joke at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that one draws a little bit more attention to itself.
Yeah. I love in Some Like It Hot when he just has the perfect shell that looks like the Shell Oil logo.
Great gag.
It's a great gag.
Such a good gag.
He is the heir to Shell Oil.
He's the heir to the Shell Oil Company. I had it for one word and then
that was good.
It.
That was a good Cary Grant.
Sounded like it.
Sounded like Cary Grant.
Thank you. Did want to watch, speaking of Cary Grant and these fun movies, I think you'd have to put Charade up there in the most fun movies of all time category.
Sure.
Fair.
That one actually has Cary Grant in it.
I'm a big Audrey fan.
I enjoyed Charade. I saw that picture.
Maybe we can do something Charade themed in the future. I do love Charade.
Movies about charades.
Movies about charades.
I will be picking The King, starring Timothy Chalamet.
I was going to make that joke too. Stop the fucking charade. Stop it.
Stop the fucking charade.
Stop the fucking charade.
That movie has really been lost in Timothy filmography.
Yeah, it came out
if you know.
Or was it
2019?
pre-COVID?
I think it was 2019.
Because people's brains got erased.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, Timmy is also someone who has been really in control of his star image, right?
Yes.
That's an interesting comparison. Mm-hmm. And the star image that he had during The King is, we are several variations away from that. Go back to, I was going to say,
era.
even the Wonka break was its own distinct persona. But Brandon, you were about to say.
Well, my suggestion is for my pick, this week's pick is we cursory referenced it the whole episode, but maybe we don't even talk about it.
I think we have to talk about it.
I'm just trying to get away from talking about it because
just to be clear, go ahead.
I rewatched the picture. This is a picture that I had as a young gay. Mm-hmm. It was in my top 15 of that year. I love this picture. It was all because of the Michelle Williams of it all, and I was really horned up for Eddie Redmayne at that time.
Sure,
we didn't know where Eddie would go.
This is why I want to talk about it, because I think there's a lot of Eddie 2011 film faggotry in here.
Yes, yes.
Emma Watson, her fuck ass bangs.
I wanted to shoot her fuck ass bangs off her scalp.
Can I try and do an impression of her for the video listeners?
Yes.
Her stupid little
really
smirk.
Is when she's whenever she sees Eddie with Marilyn,
she's like Jim from the fucking Office.
Well, so for the rewatch, I was fully expecting, to not like it, of course, but I found myself totally fine with the picture.
Okay,
you were back
let's talk about it. I do want to say up front, Brandon, I'm thrilled that this was in the homework for this week. I really am. I wasn't expecting to hate it as much as I did.
You really hated it.
Because I remember liking it at the time, and to just add even more context to what you were saying about what it was like when this movie came out in 2011, it premieres at the New York Film Festival. This is Michelle Williams coming off Blue Valentine. Like, there's a lot of prestige attached to this. And then Eddie Redmayne was still kind of an interesting British indie actor. We're not that far removed from Savage Grace.
Was this pre-Theory of Everything?
Yeah,
Eddie.
I believe that's
when Eddie started going. Because
then
he did Danish Girl.
Is the Danish Girl after the Theory of Everything?
I want to say
I believe it is.
So that was the start of the decline, and now he just does meth or something. I don't know what he does.
The Danish
and he's on a
Girl
Peacock show.
Is one of the worst films ever made.
Yeah, agree.
Entirely misbegotten. Every frame of the film, every thought behind it.
I also hated The Theory of Everything.
I didn't hate that, but
that was
I didn't
another
really
one that
like it.
I liked as a 2012 film gay.
I really did not care for the Imitation Game.
I said some things about Eddie Redmayne's Academy Award-winning performance, which, if I repeated them today, would get me canceled. So,
he won?
Yeah, he's an Academy Award winner for Best Lead Actor.
Him winning.
I do.
So, in the year of Michael Keaton Birdman, regardless of how you feel about the film Birdman, I think we can all agree Michael Keaton should have an Academy Award.
Yes,
over Eddie Redmayne.
I'm pulling up the
My
other...
God.
Unless we're talking about Jupiter Ascending, which I do genuinely enjoy.
I would have voted for Steve Carell and Foxcatcher, though.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the nominees for this reason because I also would have voted for Steve Carell and Foxcatcher. So Cumberbatch in The Imitation Game, not a movie I like, not a performance I like. Cumberbatch, who is on my wall back here for Power of the Dog, basically I go from not liking what that guy does to he can do no wrong, even if I don't like the performance.
I know. I really am on a crazy pendulum with that fucker.
And Bradley Cooper, American Sniper.
Kenneth Branagh, he got nominated for My Week with Marilyn, right?
He sure did. And we're going to pull up those nominees as well.
For easily the worst thing I've ever witnessed. So
Kenneth
that's
Branagh
really good.
What do you mean, Benton? What don't you like about the scenery chewing of Kenneth Branagh? What do you mean?
Kenneth Branagh has a really interesting stat about him, which is like he's the only person to be nominated in like 6 different categories.
Yeah, right.
He's got like one director nomination, 1 lead actor nomination, 1 supporting actor, 1 adapted screenplay nomination. Yeah. It's like 1 in each of category that he's ever worked in.
Good for him.
I felt bad at the end of our last episode because I was so tired that I got a little punchy about Kenneth Branagh.
I really don't think you needed to be.
No, and I don't think I did either. But I've been reflecting on that since, being like, why did I care so much?
What
I don't
Kenneth
know the answer.
Branagh's feelings are.
It's more just like my dad liked Belfast, so
I forgot about Belfast,
which I never saw,
and I think you evoked it last episode, and I ratatouille'd back to the existence of Belfast.
Belfast was a really interesting Oscar villain in that
Belfast,
year,
which is an Irish movie that is pro-UK.
But it got Judi Dench another Oscar nomination.
Yep.
So
I accept.
By the way, you know what she got a BAFTA nomination for? My Week with Marilyn.
Good.
I believe it. She was always getting that nom.
Let me say the few things I like about this movie before I want to hear what you guys detest about it. So for me, I know it's like, who gives a fuck about this twink hanging out with Marilyn for a week? Like you said earlier in the episode, Daniel, the last perspective we want, right? Mm-hmm. This idiot's memoir about his week with Marilyn. Big whoop.
Can I make a comparison real quick?
I do think,
Oh, no, go ahead. No, I'll bring it up
But
later.
I do think Michelle is very good. I think she's good.
Boldly disagree.
I think she's fine.
So before you boldly disagree, let me just get out of the way the things I like. Wait,
before you move on to the second point, can I make my comparison?
Yes.
Okay. So the opening title of this film is, in 1956, Marilyn Monroe went to England to shoot a movie with Sir Laurence Olivier. I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this. Second title card, I wrote it down. While there, she met a young man named Colin Clark. Okay.
And?
Like, Marilyn Monroe met a lot of people. That's like saying, one time Jesus went to the kingdom of King Herod and was crucified as a heretic. Some guy was in the crowd and watched it happen. Like, Jesus met a lot of people. Jesus touched a lot of people. And you know who that meant a lot to? All those people. You know who it doesn't mean a lot to? Me. I don't care.
Agree. Let me say the one thing I think this movie does well, and is that it evokes the feeling of watching Marilyn on screen.
I feel that. I think that's fair.
This is where I disagree.
Fair.
I feel like that's
many
the
would
reason
disagree. I think many people hate this movie.
It is not that I think Michelle is necessarily bad. I think it is impossible to evoke what Marilyn Monroe evoked. I don't like. I
think she does it
truly
successfully.
One of one.
Yeah, I do think it's a skosh better than Imitation. I don't remember Blonde. I blacked that movie out of my memory, so I don't know if Ana de Armas does it better. I blonded it out.
I like that performance better, but she is also not evoking Marilyn Monroe.
She's evoking a fictional blonde actress.
I think that Michelle is fine in the film. I would not have nominated her. I do not count it as one of her better performances. But the reason why I'm giving a little grace in that, but I struggle not to give more grace because I think Michelle Williams is highly talented at animating characters who we already have some idea of who they are. So what I mean, like you think about like Fosse Verdon. That's a very over the top.
This is the through line,
and yet it feels completely
she's
brilliant in that movie.
Exactly. You think about other icons she's played, like Mitzi Fableman. Like it's a big performance. I buy every beat of it. And I'm not saying that this is a big performance. There are times when it feels a bit big. It never feels broad. But I feel that this is kind of a waxen performance from Michelle Williams. I don't feel the hot blood in the veins that I feel watching Mitzi Fableman, for instance.
Sure.
And when you're playing Marilyn Monroe, who is a wax who is a wax figure to so many people, that's kind of your one job is to put some air in her breath or some air in her lungs. And I kind of think Michelle doesn't get there, but I actually blame the director.
I think it's also a fault of the movie's premise because you're getting a view of
it's like Niagara
through
it's exactly like Niagara,
this dumb idiot. So it's almost not her, it's her.
Like, why am I watching
him?
Clark prove himself to Sir Laurence Olivier as a production assistant?
I don't care.
It's fascinating. It's very interesting.
Well,
it's very interesting.
What I do find compelling and interesting, and I'm being very genuine, I really enjoyed getting to see Pinewood Studios in this way.
Sure.
And all of the iconic Pinewood Studios, all of its little green accents. I do think the film does a nice job of establishing that location. I'm interested in that.
The only other thing I like about this movie is that it's 138 minutes, but it ends at 129. And it's 9 minutes of credits. Thank you.
I didn't realize it was that many credits.
9 minutes of credits because it's like over her. Like Michelle does another Marilyn number. We learn what happened to Colin Clark. Who gives a fuck?
Right. And we get that weird.
He went. Oh. That's the also a comical like subtitle. It like says like what Colin Clark went on to do. He's like, second AD on a few movies, I guess. Like,
I mean, that's not a bad job. That's not a bad job, and I respect his labor. In the spirit of Dame Judi Dench as Dame Sybil Thorndike, when she chews out that gaffer, and she's like, "No, we don't fight because when we fight, management wins."
True.
That's a great job, and I respect his career in the arts. And on his Wikipedia page, it said he was a devoted cinephile for all his life. Seems like a nice guy.
Right.
I don't really care in this context when Marilyn Monroe is right there. Yeah. Colin Clark in air quotes.
Anyway, that's all.
Where is your Academy Museum exhibit, Colin Clark?
Colin? Fuck your book.
What I don't like about the writing of this film is that it is like it hits all of the beats that you expect it to.
Absolutely.
And sorry, I'm fiddling with my phone as if it's a fidget spinner, and I turn on the light. What was I saying?
It follows all the beats.
Yes, and it's like it is precisely the script that you think it is, and it like has. I hate a real life story that has Easter eggs thrown in. Like it's
the
just
Portrait of Abraham Lincoln.
It is one of my biggest issues with a biopic is when there are Easter eggs. This is why I could not stand Blue Moon starring Ethan Hawke.
Oh, fair.
It drove me fucking insane. He gives, what's his name, the idea for Stuart Little. What if he's a mouse? He gives, little Stephen Sondheim is there. He tells George Roy Hill, you should make movies about male friendship. Like, it just, I felt like it, I said it's like a Marvel for grad students watching that movie. That was in my log.
I haven't seen it, and I will see it. And I look forward
atrociously written.
I look forward to suspending my disbelief, if I can. No, but actually, just to put
Andrew
a period
Scott
on
as
that
Richard
point,
Rogers, incredible in that film.
Yeah, won an award at Berlin. To put a period on the suspension of disbelief point, it's if the film and the filmmaker earn it.
Right.
You don't just need to suspend your disbelief as a given. And so I'm looking forward to suspending my disbelief if
they gotta earn it.
Even if Richard Linklater earns it.
The example that bothers me most in My Week with Marilyn is when Colin and Marilyn have absconded for the day, and Marilyn is like, "Do you want me to be her?" This is a story that Lee Strasberg's wife would tell for the rest of her life, that she and Marilyn were out in New York City all day. No one recognized them. And at one point, Marilyn turned to her and said, "Do you want me to be her?" And it was like watching a light switch where Marilyn became Marilyn Monroe, and everyone started flocking to them on the street. And then just as quickly, she turned it off again. And like,
I do love
it bothers me that that's in the movie.
In the film My Week with Marilyn, when the crowd mobs her, the way that the camera captures Michelle Williams' performance, it becomes Mr. Krabs meme for a second, where he's like shaky. It's very much that. It's like, yeah, I mean, I think that these Easter eggs, I think that this idea of duality with Marilyn, the film's playing with public and private personae, I do think it's well intentioned.
Yes.
I just think it's an ultimately reductive portrait of Marilyn the person. If you're gonna go in the My Week With angle so that you can get a profile on Marilyn rather than underneath the stage lights close up, I am gonna need something a little more insightful or novel, and maybe that can't be done.
I think
it's a problem.
This is why I wanted you guys to watch The Prince and the Showgirl, which is the film that they are making in My Week with Marilyn. I don't think My Week with Marilyn shows you that she knocks the movie out of the park.
I agree.
Yeah, they show her as a fuck
she's
up.
Fumbling. Yes, it holds the party line that she was too messed up to continue performing basically after 1956, and that she was too in her head, to all of this. And it's like, yeah, she was all of those things, but she also got it in
she
the can.
Also did it. Yeah.
And she's just like lively and effervescent in the film.
Movie doesn't show that truth.
No. And the movie doesn't show
Which
that
is rude.
She created the Marilyn Monroe character. Like, it's the thing that's fascinating about Marilyn is that she's not just the tragic figure. She's also an actual genius in terms of both business and craft.
She had a production company.
And this was a Marilyn Monroe production.
Yes. And the way the film presents the way the production is presented in the film is sort of like ineffectual handlers.
Right.
And I also I have to say, and I struggle with this because whatever, I don't need to go down that road. But I don't like the scene in My Week with Marilyn where Colin is told to go back into her dressing room to fetch her script. And once he gets there, she's in the room and has just showered and reveals herself. The ass shot is a real problem for me. Because I think that's well-intentioned. I think the film is trying to say, we're going to show you Marilyn inside and out. You know, the idea like Marilyn without the costume on. I think that's what that shot is meant to say. But what it ultimately ends up just doing is showing her ass. Like it's it's Marilyn with no clothes on. That's not the same thing as a window into her soul.
Right. It's just Marilyn with no clothes on to get Colin Clark horned up.
Yeah. And I think I do think it is trying to show like that there is an arena where she feels confident and natural.
Yes.
But it doesn't amount to anything.
No.
It doesn't.
And we never see his
translate.
Butt.
Right.
Yeah. We never see his butt.
It's not equal opportunity butt. And in the scene where they go skinny dipping together,
he's in his little trunks.
He's in his trunks, but you hardly see his body at all, which is, I'm not like, wolf
I really was
horned up over here,
to
but
be
like
seeing bulge. I was really needing to see it.
I would buy the
because
affair
of equality.
I would buy the affair better if I felt any type of lust coming from Eddie Redmayne, even though he's seeing past the body. He really sees her
He's
soul,
just
guys.
such a good boy.
He's seeing
And everyone keeps
Normandy.
telling him that. And everyone keeps telling him that.
I wish Judi Dench's car would just plow him over in the morning.
That sounds good to me.
That would be a great way to end the movie.
I did. I
run him
had in
over.
my notes. I forgot that Eddie Redmayne was the lead of this movie. So when we get the Eddie Redmayne
Jump
reveal,
scare.
it was a jump scare. But I
Mhm.
also forgot Judi Dench was in this movie. So when we
I
got the
forgot she
Judi
was in
Dench
it.
reveal, that was
Yeah.
a jump smile.
That's
was
right.
that was
Judy,
a great
I
moment
had
for me
forgotten was in
personally.
this as
Yeah,
well.
I forgot, and I was
BAFTA
pleased.
nominee in my year of
Um,
Dench. I actually would love to do a Dench episode later. But
Oh.
we can talk about that later. Any closing thoughts?
I'll bring Victoria
on-
and Abdul for that one. How about that?
Victoria and Abdul.
which I think was the source of a
When she's like,
long running
"Bring
bit on the
me-
original podcast.
Bring me a mango.
A mango.
I
Because
need
I am,
a mango.
Says like, am I not the Empress of India? India.
Bring me a mango.
She was spared an Academy Award nomination for that one.
That's right.
I don't want to go too deep on Harvey, but I do just want to say this is also
It feels like a heart. It
it's such-
feels
it's such an
very
interest-
Weinstein. It's
It is
such a
incredibly-
Weinstein
it is
picture.
such
it's
a
such an
Weinstein movie.
interesting time capsule of the Weinstein movie.
Yes,
15
I
years
had that
later, I
exact
think.
thought watching it. Like, this is peak Weinstein.
Well, and what they did so well was trick people into thinking that some of the trash they were selling was high art.
It is good.
And
Yeah, exactly.
Again, this movie premiered at the New York Film Festival. Critics loved it. I remember seeing it.
I
not
don't
just out
even
of
know who the director is after just watching it a week ago.
Simon Curtis.
Yeah.
Right.
Who
Right.
has,
Right.
actually I saw has gone on to do some other things that we might be familiar with, such as
Go on.
not loading.
Perfect.
That is-
Not loading. Never mind. Take it
Let me
back.
talk
It's
about-
not
me take a
important.
look.
Let's talk about how Marilyn Monroe died.
All right, let's get into it. Take us
Who's
home, Ben.
ready?
I'm ready.
I believe.
Never a
This
great way
is-
to start.
I believe that Marilyn Monroe was killed by Lou Wasserman.
Elaborate.
Here we go.
All right.
History lesson. Lou Wasserman is the most powerful person the film and entertainment industry has ever known. Lou Wasserman is arguably the single most consequential American of the past 50 years because he is who Ronald Reagan called every day. He and Ronald Reagan were best friends for 70 years. And Lou Wasserman was an agent who at MCA, at the beginning of Some Like It Hot, when they're going to all of the different agent doors, one of them says Julie Stein, Music Corporation of America. Julie Stein founded MCA. Lou Wasserman is who he passed it on to in the next generation. And Lou Wasserman was like a Machiavellian type who I am obsessed with quite intensely.
Read the book.
I read the book, and his protege is in his twilight years, Mr. Steven Spielberg. And we're like just now coming to the end of the Lou Wasserman era in the sense of Steven Spielberg is winding things down. But so Lou Wasserman let me just say his business mind is beyond what anyone else in the film industry has ever done. He was the first executive that did film who saw that television was not the enemy. He started buying back catalogs of other studios because he knew that he could run them on television. He founded a production company for television. He put movie stars from 15 years ago onto television today as a way to keep their name in the present. He got Ronald Reagan on primetime television, which is how
Barbara
Ronald
Stanwyck
Reagan,
was
Barbara
Oh, go ahead.
Stanwyck, that Ronald Reagan learned television and became Ronald Reagan by going into the homes of Americans every week. And Lou Wasserman basically invented back end for actors, with Jimmy Stewart's deal for Harvey and Winchester 73. I forget which one Jimmy really wanted to do and like made a deal of like, well, I'll do it for free if you pay me in profit. That was the first time that had ever happened. That was Lou's idea. There was another point I was going to make and I've lost it. But so eventually MCA throughout the 40s and 50s grows and grows and grows. It's the biggest agency ever. They control. Oh, what I was going to say is, so right.
Murder?
Well, we're getting there. We're getting to the murder. In 1947, the United States government makes it illegal for the film studios to own theaters.
And how's this going?
And it's going great. And so for the next 20 years, the studios start losing power because they aren't sure how to monetize. And Lew Wasserman basically is able to claim all of the power by housing all of the actors at his agency, but unlike studios, he does not have to pay them. He is paid by studios to employ them, and he basically creates a studio where he is not employing anyone or producing any movies, but he is just banking money. He was known as the octopus because he had a tentacle in every revenue stream. So, Marilyn Monroe, biggest client. Lew Wasserman also invented agency packaging. Like, if you want Betty Davis, then you need to put a part for Marilyn in this movie type of shit.
Is that how we get All About Eve?
Correct. And so by the end of the 60s, he's got a thriving television production company. He's got a thriving agency business. He buys Decca Records and Universal. It is now like they have a complete vertically integrated company. They have the talent, television and film studios, and a record label, the biggest record label, under one roof. John F. Kennedy is elected as these deals are closing. John F. Kennedy and his brother, the Attorney General, Robert F. Kennedy, want to make a big splash. So everyone remembers that Marilyn and John F. Kennedy had sex. They only fucked once, according to the best evidence we have. She had a full, long affair with Robert F. Kennedy, to the point that she really believed that he was leaving his wife for her. We don't know if that is true at all, but Marilyn believed it. And Robert F. Kennedy opens an antitrust lawsuit against MCA and calls them a monopoly. They are the biggest. It's like what people are worried about with like Netflix today. It's like, this is the fear of MCA at this moment, that it will be anti-competitive. They will be able to drive the price for everything. So Marilyn is having an affair with the Attorney General at the time that her agent is being sued by the Attorney General. And she's the biggest movie star in the world. I don't know that Lew Wasserman thought she's passing industry secrets to RFK, but what I do know is instead of going through years of litigation, Lew Wasserman agrees to stop being a talent agency. We will keep everything else. We will no longer be a talent agency. This is why it is illegal to this day for talent agents to have other businesses, although that is starting to get deregulated right now, currently. But for a very long time, yes, for a long time, it was against. So I think, and then another thing about Lew Wasserman, he's very in with the mob. Like hardcore mob.
Hey. The Italian Ex Opera Appreciation Society.
Yeah.
Exactly. I believe, like, one of his best friends was Sidney Korshak. Like, Lew Wasserman, Sidney Korshak, and Zifrin, I forget his first name, they would go out to dinner, at the Copacabana, and the entire room would like silent down as these three couples walked into the room because they owned everything. Sidney Korshak was the lawyer to the LA mob, and they were best friends. I am positive that Lou Wasserman thought Marilyn Monroe was responsible for him having to divest of his agency business, and he had Sidney Korshak arrange a hitman to drug her that night. I am sure of this.
Well, if that's not going to convince me, I don't know what is. I am ready to say that, yes,
convinced.
Marilyn Monroe was the funniest person to ever appear.
Exactly.
Yes. I'm ready to say it now.
Yep. So that is my theory.
Thesis.
Thank you.
Fascinating. And also, to our listeners, you might remember from the Best Years of Our Lives episode, we also had a Lou Wasserman history lesson, correct?
Did we?
No, am I thinking of a different?
I think Ben blacks out when he delivers them, so he might not remember.
What I'm getting at is that there's a rich.
I think we talked about
firsthand
Sam
account.
Goldwyn.
We talked about Sam Goldwyn. My bad.
Sam Goldwyn.
But hey, we're populating the cast with these individual histories.
If you've never seen the image of Lou Wasserman, I advise you to Google him in his later years because he had really huge, thick-rimmed glasses, and he was just a very handsome guy and stylish. And
I thought you were going to say he pulled a Ryan O'Neal.
Without him, the New Deal might still be intact. So, whatever,
Yeah, those are big glasses.
Those are the glasses that are killing Social Security.
The Last Mogul. Is that the book you're reading or read?
I read it a couple years ago.
God, it was a couple years ago now?
Yeah. What's funny about The Last Mogul...
I really loved when you were reading it because you would always send really great excerpts over text.
The best thing about that book is that it is without any sense of political correctness. The theme of many chapters is like, and Lou's thirst for power would have gone unchecked if not for this bitch actress he had to deal with. And paints Lou's wife as like a cold, domineering, only had a child because it was expected of her, never spoke to the kid, only was interested in fame and like being the queen of Hollywood, and like speaks of Marilyn as like a mess, Betty Grable as like a power hungry, like Betty Davis is trying to wrest control from him. It was like,
I have to say, on that point, this is one of the things I appreciate about Levy's Clint Eastwood biography, which I've spoken about many times on the mic, is that he's constantly getting in little digs at the other biographers. I think like Richard Schickel might have been one of them, who kind of let Clint off the hook in terms of not just the womanizing, but the misogyny. And I love the idea of one biographer catching strays from the other biographer around issues like this.
Yep. And here's the thing.
Anyway,
here's the thing about Lou Wasserman. I would rather he be in charge of Hollywood today than anyone else currently in charge of a Hollywood studio. Because he, even though everything he did was for his own monetary gain, it did benefit the industry. Everything he did is why, like, the 70s were a boom time.
Are Lou Wasserman's descendants still kicking around in Los Angeles?
Yeah, Casey Wasserman is in charge of the Olympics in LA in 2028 and had to sell his agency just a couple months ago because of sexual assault allegations.
Okay, so not Casey. I was thinking after that statement, if there's any Wasserman relatives in the bloodline we could hit up, and now that we are not getting money from the director of
What pisses me off about Casey Wasserman, his last name is not Wasserman. His mom, her maiden name is Wasserman, but he goes by Wasserman because there's cultural cachet. He's a fraud.
A fraud.
And like Lou needs to be exhumed to put him in his place.
I agree.
Your audio levels hit the red when you said
exhumed. Exhume the body.
Exhume the body. I'm boiling. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm really hot.
I'm
now
hot too. I'm hot too. So
and I'm hot for a lot of reasons now that we got
now
into this.
I'm hot on history.
So
hot on history.
What's the last thing everyone
shall I segue us in?
Yeah.
Okay, so our last segment before we announce what our topic next week will be is what did everyone watch last?
I'll
start.
First? Great.
All right.
I went to see Toy Story 5. Finally,
Nice.
I thought it was fine. It's really 3 stars and a heart, but I gave it 3.5 stars and a heart because I looked at my Pixar ranking and I thought, well, if it's only 3, it's got to go below this shit. So it's 3.5.
Fair enough.
I get that.
I do get that. Maybe it's time to reevaluate the other films.
It's time to reevaluate because Lord knows, what was it? Monsters University is not 3.5 stars. You infant who rated that.
Might be.
I thought people like that one. Both me and Daniel are like,
I feel like Monsters U is a 3-star basement.
I
haven't seen it, but I thought people liked it.
I also really am generous to Pixar. Like I gave Elemental 3.5. I gave Elio 3.5.
I thought Elemental was better than. I mean, there's
better than Soul.
I didn't like Soul, but
I liked Soul, but I do.
I like Soul. It's fine, but it's 3.5.
I do hear the criticisms about why whenever Disney Pixar has a black lead in their film, do they always turn into an animal by the Act 1 break? And that did zap some of my enjoyment of the motion picture Soul.
It's also like, why is his soul voiced by a white woman?
And there's that. I kind of blocked out Soul. I watched Soul on Christmas Day during COVID. I think.
Oh my God, same.
It's a COVID movie too.
I got my internet turned off because someone may or may not have torrented.
That was
Soul.
that night.
Yeah, it was on Christmas Day.
Wow. All right, Ben.
I do understand though, Brandon, the needing to reevaluate Letterboxd scores based on the films around them. I think that's partly why My Week with Marilyn gets 1.5 from me instead of 2.
No, fair. So yeah, I would say it's easily the weakest of the Toy Stories, but it's not a total loss. I do think there's still some value to be derived from it.
So there's still 5 good Toy Stories.
Yeah, and they are planning a 6th to wrap up the Bonnie trilogy. So just buckle up for that.
A trilogy.
My nephew said he doesn't like the way portrays modern children. Do you have thoughts on that?
Well, because it puts them all behind a screen. There's actually some very nice visual storytelling happening because anytime it shows like a view of like houses and windows, it's always a glowing screen with a face to the point where like there's anyway. Neither of you. It
can be hard for anyone, children or adult, to level with criticism that does strike
and all the adults in
problem.
the movie, all the parents in the movie are also on their screens.
Right.
We're on one right now.
We are on the screen right now. Last thing I watched was Love Actually, Love Island.
Different things.
I've been watching Love Island. It's the only thing that brings me pleasure.
I love that.
It is just watching really hot, stupid people say things that they don't know what those words mean. And like one said, I'm really happy to immerse myself in this experience instead of immerse.
I have to watch it.
One of the guys is like, I know sign language, and the girl's like, well, show me something, and he's like, oh, let me do your name. Pause. I think this is A. And he doesn't actually know sign language, but it's great.
I love lying.
It's really a beautiful.
Me when I'm lying.
It's a really fun anthropological.
This is
viewing experience for me to view how normal Gen Z folks are engaging with other human beings.
But enough about Curry Barker's obsession.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
You still haven't seen it?
No, I'm only now at a place
it's on
where
digital now.
Yeah, I'll just catch it here.
But
I'm only now at a place where I have time to catch the new releases.
Right. You've been, anyway.
But I'm catching up.
What's the last thing you watched that wasn't work
related?
Well,
on that point, the only things I'm going to the movie theater are Stop That Train, Jackass Best and Last, and Disclosure Day. Great. So the last thing I saw was Jackass Best and Last, which I spoke about a little already. I do think it's worth seeing. Like Toy Story 5, I think it is easily the worst of the franchise. I think it is retreading on some themes that were perfectly distilled in Jackass Forever. So why not try something new? But in the interest of talking about something else, I will quickly say that the day before that, I rewatched Mrs. Doubtfire. And
hello.
I think hello. I think Mrs. Doubtfire is a pretty excellent film. Fun fact, Brandon, because I also love drive-by fruiting. In the film, it's run by fruiting. It's like a Berenstain Bears thing. Because I can hear her saying
effect.
It's a Mandela effect. I can hear her saying drive-by fruiting.
It's a drive-by fruiting, but it's a run-by fruiting.
But what I'll say about Mrs. Doubtfire
ruins the play on words. That can't be true.
It's the joke is too clever. Is the run-by thing?
I love when she rips off the Mercedes logo.
She goes, oh, such a pity when that happens. So first things first, Mrs. Doubtfire, the person, is one of the greatest people to ever walk the face of the earth.
Can you say Mrs. Doubtfire's first name?
Euphigenia Doubtfire, dear. It's Euphigenia.
We had a trivia night, and that was a question.
Euphigenia, and her husband's name was Winston. I will just say this about Mrs. Doubtfire, which I think is a great film. I really think it's a great movie, but I'm not going to talk about why. I'm going to say what holds it back is the exact quality that you will not find 40 years earlier in Some Like It Hot, which is that there is no punching down on the queer or trans elements at play and these premises. And I don't think Mrs. Doubtfire is like always punching down. I think that it's trying to actually be quite progressive in what it's saying and doing. But there are a number of beats that are completely uncalled for, like very explicitly transphobic material in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it a miracle that 70 years later, Some Like It Hot not only avoided stepping into those types of traps? It's not why the film is great, but it is another element that I think is worth remarking upon with Some Like It Hot, which is that it's not really quote unquote problematic. Yeah. And in fact, it is still
a miracle.
It is still used as a prism by members of the queer and trans community to better understand their own identities. And I say that, with all lowercase. There are more important texts around that issue. But
this is sort of a conversation that's happening on the internet right now that I see, which we don't need to get into this because it's like a whole episode's worth of concept, but like...
Sounds like a minefield.
Audiences are delighted by positive queer representation as long as they are straight.
That's interesting. Okay, well we'll just put a pin in that for another episode because
this is something I see a lot with like Love Island. There's always a bromance every season of Love Island. Literally, like two of the guys this season are always in bed together. One shows his dick to the other, like, and
I know.
The heated rivalry of it all.
That's what I was about to say. I know that there's explicit sex and heated rivalry, but the whole love affair with those two guys on the red carpet does seem to play into this idea.
If either of them are gay, neither of them have said so, Yeah.
That is an interesting topic for the future. In the immediate future, so our first topic in the new format of Movies IMO was Marilyn Monroe, particularly Marilyn Monroe, the funniest person to ever act on screen. We got a unanimous 3 out of 3 by the end there. And next week, our topic is, what, in your opinion, is Steven Spielberg's worst film?
Are we saying what we're bringing, or we're saying?
Yeah, we should say. No, we should say so people can prep.
Yes.
My answer is always.
Always what?
Always is the name of the film. It's always.
Mine, speaking of Euphigenia Doubtfire, my worst Spielberg is
Mine is, I haven't seen either of your picks, so it might become my worst. But currently, it is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Interesting. This is a great triple.
It is. And this will be fun.
It's also crazy that we really couldn't be more in like the gay millennial demographic and like the cinephile, like the millennial cinephile who comes of age with Amblin and in like the decade after Amblin, that neither myself nor Brandon have seen Hook, which is one of the most ubiquitous millennial Spielberg.
We are a little young for Hook. I remember,
isn't it the same era as like Jumanji, which I've seen a million times?
Yeah, but that's why, like, I saw it
or Jumanji.
I saw it as a child because one of the neighbor kids was obsessed with it, and he was 2 years older than me. So, and you guys are like, well, Brandon is like 1 year younger than me, and Daniel is 2 or 3 years younger than me. So
you're too young.
I remember many years ago on the podcast, Fighting in the War Room. Is that still on? I don't listen to that anymore.
Yeah, I think it's still on.
Matt Patches, I remember, was like, did you guys know that for millennials who are a little bit younger than us, The Mummy is their hook? And like this was like explosive information to him that there was a generation of kids that thought The Mummy was good.
The Mummy is good.
I like The Mummy.
And that, like, that's where Hook slots in for people that are like 5 to 10 years older than us.
I will say I'm really looking forward to reading the letterboxd logs of my fellow gay millennials on this text, because like I said, it's really kind of weird. Brandon and I haven't seen this. Everyone's seen this.
Maggie Smith is in it, so we have that to look forward to.
Oh, is she Tinkler?
She's Tinkerbell?
Is she Tinkerbell?
Yeah. She's
Tinkerbell?
She's Tinkerbell. No, Julia Roberts is Tinkerbell.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. We're hitting 2 hours, so can we?
So goodbye.
Can we close it. But
See ya.
I have. Can I sign us off?
Yeah.
To end the Marilyn Monroe episode.
Yes. Tell us.
Good night, honey.
Who do you think killed Marilyn Monroe? Email us and let us.
Please.
I'm going to say it again.
Tell us.
Good night, honey.